Welcome back to Film Flashback, where I take a look at movies and shows to see what makes them great or what could have made them better. I am your host MD, and this time I wanted to talk about episodes 3 and 4 of Ahsoka and explain why this is the Star Wars we have been waiting for. But before we begin, here's your warning that there are major spoilers ahead. So far, other than the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, the Star Wars shows and movies that were released lately have been a little disappointing to say the least. The movies unfortunately did this, and this, and somehow brought this character back as well, just to name a few. The opening moments of the Book of Boba Fett were absolutely amazing, but soon after felt like he was a background character in his own story. Obi-Wan Kenobi's best scenes included Darth Vader, but the rest of the show mostly fell flat. Andor was excellent even though no one watched. And the 3rd season of The Mandalorian wasn't even about The Mandalorian. Now we have Ahsoka that still has flaws, but episodes 3 and 4 have been exactly what Star Wars desperately needed. First of all, Baylan Skoll is my favorite character so far. I love how he is this dark, mysterious character that we still don't know what his true motivations are. Some of the best villains are a little cold and calculating like he is. Check out this scene where he could have engaged Sabine in a battle over the map, but instead chose to reason with her. It would have been a quick fight because he is clearly far more powerful than she is. That's why I found it so interesting that he chose this path instead. Now compare that to when he faced Ahsoka. She came with her lightsaber already drawn while Baylan sat like this waiting for her. He actually says it was inevitable for them to fight, and it felt like he was a little reluctant to do so. Usually we see villains come out swinging and out of control, so they're not as memorable. Kylo Ren came off as whiny and emotional, which made it hard to watch villains like this. And even though I also enjoy watching bad guys who are a little off, I mostly want to see characters like Baylan who are under control because it makes them more difficult to defeat. And the tougher the villain, the stronger the hero has to become to beat them, the better the story. Star Wars definitely needs more complex characters like this. Also, the lightsaber battles have been epic. The fighting in the first 2 episodes was really good, but episode 4 took it to another level. The fight between Baylan Skoll and Ahsoka was everything I had hoped it would be, and I loved the tension as Ahsoka tried to get the map before the coordinates to Thrawn could be completed. I figured Baylan would win the first round because villains usually do, but I didn't expect him to fight like this. Ahsoka has been lethal against everyone else so far, but she looked overmatched against him. And even though I knew they would be successful in finding Thrawn because we saw him in the trailer, it was still exciting to watch them fight. In Obi-Wan Kenobi, there was another epic lightsaber showdown between Vader and Ben Kenobi. The show may have been a bit of a disappointment, but like I said earlier, the best scenes all had Vader in them. As for Rey versus Kylo Ren, there were a few good moments, but it just seemed too far-fetched how she was able to win when she never had any training. Ahsoka versus Marrok reminded me of an old-school samurai battle, which was really cool, but I did have an issue with it, which I'll talk about later. I also enjoyed round 2 of Sabine and Shin. It was fun to see her use all of that Mandalorian gear this time around. I also like the internal conflict that was introduced right here. Ahsoka considers how they may have to destroy the map, which would prevent them from seeing Ezra ever again in order to keep Thrawn from returning to power. Ahsoka's focus has been to find Ezra, and just wondering if they have to sacrifice him for the greater good was an idea Sabine just couldn't handle. I absolutely love this type of conflict because it drives really well written stories. I thought the Mandalorian missed out on a great opportunity to have a similar conflict when he acquired the dark saber. We are told that whoever holds this mystical weapon has the power to unite all of Mandalore. It would have been interesting if Din Djarin somehow had to choose between saving Grogu's life or handing it back to the enemy, which would have put all of their lives at risk. We saw back in the first episodes of this show how important it was for Sabine to find Ezra once again. I knew the moment Sabine made this promise to Ahsoka that she would trust her when it matters most, that she would be tested soon enough. That test turned out to be her having to choose between either destroying the map and lose Ezra forever, or hand it over and allow the enemy to win. Knowing the stakes made her decision to give it away that much more powerful. And what about that moment when we saw Anakin? It was a complete surprise to see him, and the show has now introduced new questions that must be revealed. Like, where are they? Why is she able to see him like this instead of this? And how will she get back? It was not as big of a reveal as seeing Luke save the day in The Mandalorian, but it's still a major surprise. With all that said, there are a few key issues in my opinion that are keeping this show from perfection. For one, I still think Ahsoka is a little too stoic for the show. Everything is great when she's fighting, but afterwards the pace slows down painfully. For example, I liked the training scene she had with Sabine. It was a cool idea, but after a while it felt like it just took forever to end. Ahsoka showed more personality during her fight with Baylan than any other time so far in the series. It would be intriguing if we find out Ahsoka is choosing to act this way because she's afraid her emotions will eventually lead her to the dark side, like Anakin's did. I was also disappointed that Marrok was destroyed so quickly. It was a great fight, but I was hoping this would have been someone from her past that knew her weaknesses and was later to be revealed as someone she once knew. It was a shame to get rid of such an interesting character that had so much potential. And it was too bad how we never found out what he was after seeing his demise. I felt the same way with Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett. He was such a great villain that he should have had far more screen time than he did. And I still have an issue with Sabine surviving a lightsaber attack the way she did, while Ahsoka was able to take down a spaceship with one swipe. It seems strange how you can take out an entire starship covered in metal, but a person without any armor can survive. And it was also wild how she was able to just walk out on the wing of her own ship in space and calmly move around. A simple explanation about the rules of her suit and wounds from a lightsaber would have explained all this away. I believe Star Wars needs more complex characters, more exciting lightsaber battles, and more internal conflict so we can enjoy amazing stories, and Ahsoka has delivered exactly that. And there you have it, why these episodes of Ahsoka are finally the Star Wars we've been waiting for. Let me know in the comments section what you think of this video and this show. Also, please like and subscribe so you can enjoy future videos on my channel. As always, thanks for watching.